Hi, welcome to Outlier Live. So today's topic is NVIDIA. NVIDIA is going to announce their quarterly earning on Wednesday, and that is on everybody's mind. For those who are investing in NVIDIA or who are trading NVIDIA, they have this question what to expect. And then you need to think about what is driving NVIDIA's growth recently. So today we are just going to see some of the market sentiment, what analysts are thinking, what is behind NVIDIA's recent growth, and what to expect in coming weeks, months, coming years. So let's get into it. So NVIDIA dominates the market for GPUs. So these are the chips that are needed for the AI model training. So they introduced their first GPU called GeForce 256 back in 1999. Last year alone, from their gaming unit, they brought in over $9 billion in revenue. Even though we saw that there was a recent downturn, uh, and this is what their CEO has to say. So I'm going to read some of his comments. So we had the good wisdom to go put the whole company behind it. So he's talking about this AI boom. So he is betting big on AI. We saw early on, about a decade ago or so, that this way of doing software could change everything, and we changed the company from bottom all the way to the top and sideways. Every chip that we made was focused on AI. So looks like he is betting big on AI. No doubt the chat gpt, the large language model LLMs, their training is driven by NVIDIA GPUs. So let's look into what is happening in last few days. So we saw the surge in the stock price. Uh, People are betting that the Wall Street is betting that uh, Nvidia is going to really do well in this coming quarter, and so the stock has rose almost 8% on Monday, and like literally just a little shy of that last high that they saw of $480 back in on July 14th. So it's kind of going up. So looks like people are betting big on Nvidia. So before we come to any conclusion of where it is going and all of that, let's talk about their business model. Till last year, gaming was one of their key business unit. So it was bringing one of the most revenue, like it was foreshadowing any other business unit. But recently, their data center unit is growing like anything. Uh, what we saw that because their GPUs are getting used to train these LLMs, their data center unit has skyrocketed. Almost now it is three times the size of their gaming unit. So only 2 years ago, NVIDIA's gaming segment was larger than its data center. Uh, in 2024, we anticipate the data center business will be three times larger than the gaming, perhaps even higher. So let's look at some of the clues here, where that money is going. When you think about training these models, training these AI models, right? Like you have this cloud infrastructure, and you need to think about where that money is going. Whether it is going for like AI training, where NVIDIA dominates, by the way. uh, Inference is, when you deploy these AI models, and those are different chips, and that is going to be one of the biggest focus in coming decade, because now you have built these model, you have trained these models, now you have to deploy them. And to deploy, you don't need those big heavy GPUs. You need lighter chips, which we can which can be used for inference, basically the output of that trained model, but almost close to real time. So those are like lighter unit right now. Nvidia is still lagging in those. It's not at the forefront. So we need to keep an eye on that inference. chips. Also, we need to look at spending patterns of these bigger companies like your Amazon, Microsoft, where they are spending money. Is it like one time spent that they did recently, or is it becoming a new normal for them? Because if it is becoming a new normal for them, the amount of money that they are spending on training their AI, then it is a good news for companies like NVIDIA, AMD, because these companies will always need to upgrade their infrastructure to train their models to, if they are focusing on metaverse, if they are focusing on some other areas, like, hey, how we can even make chat gpt better, how some of these other countries, not the companies, countries are also buying these NVIDIA GPUs because they are creating their own LLMs. For example, I was reading about it that Saudi Arabia and UAE, they bought thousands of NVIDIA GPUs recently. Uh, and what they are doing with it, I mean, they are going to develop their own language model, apparently known as Falcon. So they are going to keep on buying as well. So Nvidia is not only doing well in United States, it's also selling uh, in countries like UAE, Saudi Arabia. China is one of their biggest market. In fact, it was they are selling almost one fourth of their total sales in China. But there are some problem geopolitical issues that we are seeing in China. Back in 2022, USA, they prohibited NVIDIA as well as AMD to export some of their cutting edge chips to China. So they put a ban on exporting A100 and their new H100 GPUs to China and Russia back in 2022. You know what NVIDIA did? They looked into how they can go around that ban, and they brought, let me read it here what exactly they did. So they released a cut down version of its high end A100 GPU. So they named it A800. Okay, so that's renaming doesn't solve that, doesn't uh, uh, you know they will get in trouble if they sell the same. So what they did was they reduced the computing in their computing cluster at 400 gigabytes per second, that and instead of 600 gigabyte per second. So they reduced their computing power a little bit, and now they are selling they are going around this restriction, and now they are selling back to China their A800, which is little bit downgraded from A100, but they are selling to China again. So from the company perspective, it is a good news. But if you look from the geopolitical angle, it's, you can make out whatever you want to make out of it. So ChatGPT, we all know that ChatGPT is behind all of this recent growth, especially in this LLM and this generative AI space. And in fact, we are seeing huge investment in generative AI space. And guess where that money is going? Most of that money is going to Nvidia, to AMD. Why? Because all of these companies are training their models day in and day out, and Nvidia companies like Nvidia, AMD are very happy about it, because they are receiving majority of that money, and they are backing this with their full hearts, that they want this generative AI funding to keep on going up. And in fact, it is like back in 2021 we saw around funding of around let me see here, close to 1.1 billion to these startups. In 2022 it was around 1.4 billion, and this year they are saying that it's probably gonna increase by a lot. I was reading this report from McKinsey, and which was talking about they are thinking that generative AI is going to break out this year, and the number of use cases that they are seeing uh, are going to increase for this space. For example, they are looking into different segments where generative AI is getting used. So you'll see, like, in use cases in marketing and sales, product and service development, service operation, risk strategy, HR, supply chain management, manufacturing. So everywhere there is some use of generative AI. Why I'm talking about it? Because more funding happening in this space, majority of that funding will go to NVIDIA's, AMD's. So they are going to benefit from it. So I see a lot of upside from NVIDIA in coming year, but there are some risks as well, right? So as I said, one of those risks are those inference chips. NVIDIA is working very hard, by the way, as we speak, to cover that, but they are still not, uh, you know, the best in terms of inference chips. Now let's talk about some other things I was reading here. So shift to mobile gaming, VR over PC VR could curb such opportunities. What does that mean? If consumer, if users, they prefer mobile gaming over your PC VR gaming, then Nvidia may be in trouble a little bit. Why? Because their GPUs are not that good for smartphones. So that is one of the thing that they are lacking at. So that can be a problem. Another problem that I'm seeing brewing here is privacy issues. Recently I'm hearing lot of companies, writers guild, and a lot of places are suing OpenAI. Why? Because they think that they used their data without their permission, right, to train their models. So imagine if they have to revert back, right? And if that much data is not available for them to train, because ChatGPT is spending probably close to $1 million a day in training these models. But if everybody start putting these restriction, oh, you can't use my data, you can't this and that, then it may be a problem. But I don't see personally that is going to happen, because once the data is available on internet, it's, it's everybody can, like, literally take it, unless you are like, okay, oh, I updated my terms of service, if you are coming to my website, you can't scrape the data, whatnot. So there may be some back and forth, but I personally do not see that much impact happening on Nvidia because of this. Yes, there will be some cases that Nvidia may get into trouble, but we will see. Last but not least, let me look into outlier data. So recently, we have all seen a pullback in pretty much all the sectors. And what I'm seeing right now, that pullback is going on pretty much in all the sectors here. Your discretionary, financial, industrial, materials, technology sector also joined, real estate, utilities. So even though there is a lot of excitement in the market about Nvidia stock, and Nvidia may do very well in this quarter, because I was looking at some of the commentary from their CEO, and they are very bullish about this quarter, surprisingly. And I am hoping that they will have good projections for the next quarter as well, because that is something that is going to drive the stock price on their Wednesday earnings call. If their future projections are, flat or not that good, then you may see a big correction happening in Nvidia. Right now, I mean, for someone who is playing safe, you know that there is a downward pressure in pretty much all the sectors, including your technology sector. And these companies, Nvidia may change it, may change the direction, but right now the sentiment is pretty bad in all across the sectors. August month is proving to be a bad month for the stock market. So personally, I am going to just look at how Nvidia stock plays from the sidelines, right? For any of you who are betting big on Nvidia, I'll just say just be careful out there, because things can go either way. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on Thursday. Thank you.